Last week, the Wall Street Journal had an article about United Airlines. United's pandemic strategy: stop trying to predict it. And that article has good information for many businesses. I'm Dr. Bill Connerly. I connect the dots between the economy and business. And I'm going to talk about what I call the flexible strategy, how United Airlines applied it, and how it can be used in many other businesses. So what do I mean by the flexible stance? Let's imagine a baseball game, and a fast runner has gotten on to first base, wants to steal second. The runner does not get into a sprinter's stance. Instead, the runner is more balanced, ready to go to second base, but also ready to dive back to first base if need be. So you can visualize executives playing this game, and this is pretty much what we would look like if we were playing. That runner ready to go forward, ready to go backward. Okay, enough about that. Some of you may recognize that as cover art from my book, The Flexible Stance: Thriving in a Boom-Bust Economy, which I wrote about dealing with uncertainty. Now, many businesses are thinking in terms of a CEO has a vision of where things are going and gets everybody on board to carry out that vision. And that makes a lot of sense if you have no uncertainty. But are you sure where the economy is going? Or what about technological change? Or social attitudes, government, competition? With all of these uncertainties, I recommend a big dose of humility. And as a result of that attitude of humility, United Airlines said, we're not sure where things are going to go. With that, let's talk about what you do if you're a little bit humble about where things are going to go. The first thing I would mention is speed. United was very quick to cut their flights, lay off people, and although that's unfortunate for the people involved, in order for the company to survive, fast action is needed. They also were able to cut costs quickly and ended up with quite a strong cash position. Right now, they've got about $20 billion in cash, and the CEO says that they could tread water indefinitely. That liquidity reflects thinking across the business cycle, one of the points I made in the book. And what I'm saying is that when times are good, a lot of businesses are doing acquisitions. They're buying other companies, buying assets. But when times are good, that's when a business should build up its capital. It should pay down debt, build up equity, and then when things get bad, look for opportunities to use the cash. United recently placed an order for 270 airplanes. They won't tell us what pricing they got, but when you order in the middle of a recession or a slow recovery from the recession, you probably get very good pricing. The next thing that was noticeable to me was they figured they could not predict where the rebound was going, whether it was going to be strong or weak. So they said, let's do 3 strategies. And they came up with a rebound strategy for slow growth, moderate growth, and fast growth in the rebound. That's a good policy. I suggested it in my book, The Flexible Stance, and my own sailing club, a little nonprofit member-run sailing club on the Willamette River. When the board of directors and the treasurer were saying, what should we do? They came to me and I said, let me give you three scenarios, and you figure out which of these what you would do in each of these 3 scenarios. So the scenario approach makes a lot of sense. United also called together a bounce back team. And what that was a team that would figure out what would be the impediments to recovery. Everybody is ready for growth in their own heads, but frequently businesses are not ready in a number of dimensions: labor, working capital, equipment. And this bounce back team look for choke points, including with their suppliers. Do our suppliers have the means to ramp up their deliveries to us? One particular example: usually a company can call back workers, get them up to speed fairly quickly. But with pilots, it's a different story. There are regulations about the training. And if a pilot has not done a certain number of takeoffs and landings in the last 90 days, that pilot needs ground school for a week, plus simulator training and a check ride with an instructor. So, and if it's more than 90 days, 180 days, it's a lot more training. United recognized this is our choke point. And they said, let's hire people back early, give them the training. Yeah, it's going to cost more money to hire them back before they have the real need for them, but it gave them the flexibility to expand. Flexibility is something that you sometimes have to pay money to get, but it's also valuable when you don't know what direction things are going in. United also reviewed their long-run strategy and kept with it. Now, sometimes, occasionally, there's a change and it warrants rethinking your long-term strategy. If you are managing office buildings in downtown locations, this pandemic was a good time to rethink your strategy. But for 95% of businesses, whatever their good long-term strategy had been, they probably should stick with it and get back to it. United's strategy is to focus on business travel in its growth, and I don't know whether that's the best strategy, but there's no reason why the pandemic has to change that, and they're rolling back with it. So, what should you do in your business? I've been saying business, but this also applies to nonprofit organizations and state and local government agencies. I encourage you to think about the flexible stance and the key elements of the flexible stance we've talked of today. And if you'd really like more, well, you might want to think about buying the flexible stance. You can get it on my website, www.connerlyconsulting.com, or you can get it from Amazon or any major bookseller, I think. So with that, let me add that I put out a monthly newsletter, and it's got charts on the economy with my comments, and it also has information about the articles I'm writing for Forbes.com. Thanks for watching this, and I'll see you next time. And you can subscribe to this. Hit the button. I think it's somewhere down underneath the globe. Big, bright red button. You can't miss it.